the beautiful beach, the sensational surf. Welcome to paradise.
For many of us, this stunning and amazing water is why we love and live in Southern California. Hello, beachgoers. I'm Micah Ullman.
And I'm Lou Parker. Just take a look at the water's shimmering surface, but it's what's lurking under those waves that will shock you.
Entangled sea lions silently begging for help.
Battered birds whose stomachs are filled with plastic.
And a once pristine Mother Nature now clothed in miles and miles of trash. It's more than an environmental eyesore. It's the ugly truth about our ocean, an ocean harmed by humans and suffering from a disease of debris.
Those beautiful creatures won't exist in 10 years if we're not careful.
Tonight, join us on our special journey to heal the bay.
The bay is sick, and it's really our responsibility.
You don't want to put anything in the street unless you don't mind swimming with it the next day.
Discover how the plastic bag you see floating along the freeway, or the cigarette butt you casually flick aside, even the water running off your grass into the street can have a disastrous impact on the ocean and those living in and around it.
We are delivering some of the worst excrement to the entire marine food web using plastic as a vehicle.
Up till now, everything in the ocean has been safe to eat, and now that's not the case.
Learn the simple things you can do to cure our coast and save our seas.
Coastal Cleanup Day gives people an opportunity to clean up their environment so it could be a safer place for animals and the ocean.
So get ready to heal the bay.
Even on the most magnificent of beaches, trash still washes ashore, and marine debris like these plastic bottles and bags can be deadly.
Plastics are often mistaken as food by marine life, and over 100,000 marine mammals die each year in the North Pacific alone. The ocean, home to thousands of majestic animals, a deep sea playground, a vast underwater wonderland. But sadly, the waters in which these creatures thrive are now putting them in danger.
The biggest pollution problem that we're dealing with right now at Heal the Bay is just the simplest one that we all see, which is marine debris. It's all the trash that ends up on our beach, that ends up in the ocean.
Polluted by people with plastic bags, soda cans, even fishing gear, forcing many ill marine animals onto the shore.
Plastic bags around the necks of sea lions. I've responded to sea lions that actually had half the bag stuck in their mouth and were choking and was able to pull the plastic bag out. So they're pretty much doomed if we don't rescue them.
That's where marine animal rescue specialist Peter Wallerstein steps in. A 25-year veteran of Southern California animal rescues, he vowed to try and give these helpless victims a second chance at life.
I wanted to change things, so I dedicated my life to raise the standard of marine animal care.
In 2010 alone, Wallerstein's Marine Animal Rescue Group, a project of Friends of Animals, has rescued close to 400 marine mammals. And he's taking it one step further. As a valuable training and education tool in animal rescues, Wallerstein now uses a helmet cam to document the life-saving drama from his perspective.
When you're trying to put a net over a sea lion that's 250 pounds, it's strong, their teeth are made for ripping flesh. Marine mammal rescue is not a game. You can get really seriously injured conducting a marine mammal rescue if you aren't highly trained and aren't using the appropriate equipment.
So how does a mammal rescue work? Our cameras were on the scene with the Pacific Marine Mammal Center of Laguna Beach when word came in about another very sick sea lion.
This morning we got a call and they informed us that we had an animal who had come up on the beach. So we gathered our rescue team, drove down here.
The discovery? A young pup nearly lifeless on the sand, clearly malnourished and in desperate need of help.
It's okay, sweetheart. The animal that was rescued today was considered to be in stage 2 starvation. This is an animal that has not eaten for some time. He was very thin. We could see his spinal column protruding. Also, some of his ribs were showing through his skin. These are animals that are struggling to find food in the wild.
Struggling because their feeding grounds are flooded with trash. But if any chance at a recovery is present, there's one place that will make it happen. To the untrained eye, it looks like a seal and sea lion heaven, a rich marine playground for some of the ocean's most playful creatures. But the Pacific Marine Mammal Center is really more like a hospital, a working rehab facility for some very ill pups.
Pacific Marine Mammal Center is a nonprofit organization. It depends entirely on public support to run its operations. So any donation to the center goes back to caring for those animals, providing food and medication to help give them that second chance at life.
The center's director of development, Melissa Shaka, says most of the seals and sea lions who arrive at their facility have truly had a rough go of it.
Some of the things that we do see affecting our animals, mostly it's malnourishment and starvation type issues. We do see gill nut entanglement, monofilament line, ingestion of trash.
Primary care at the facility involves some daily TLC, along with buckets upon buckets of fish and more fish. A huge part of their work is simply replacing the nutrition these animals have lost, because in a pollution-strewn ocean, their stomachs have become filled with trash.
Well, we always tell people, don't throw garbage in the ocean, especially when you're out in a boat and stuff. Don't throw tinfoil, don't throw all that kind of stuff in the ocean. The ocean has to be maintained clean. You keep throwing this stuff in there, it end up like swimming in your toilet. We don't want to do that.
Those tending to the center's patients have seen the toll that ocean debris can take, and sometimes the damage can prove fatal.
We actually had an animal named Ping that unfortunately perished at our center. We were unable to save him. Upon the results of the necropsy, we were able to see that he ingested multiple sandwich bags, plastic balloons, pieces of mylar balloons, styrofoam peanuts.
A tragic ending that is all too common for these sea lions. Remember the beached, weak pup we showed you earlier? His condition was beyond repair as he passed less than 24 hours after being rescued. But what about some of the center's seal-sized success stories?
1, 2!
We'll have all that for you a bit later in the show. And it's not just the animals below sea level that are suffering.
There is perhaps nothing more elegant and graceful than the magnificent aquatic birds soaring over our Southern California seas. But at the International Bird Rescue Research Center in San Pedro, the sad work at hand is pulling fish hooks out of the brown pelicans that have been brought to the clinic.
This pelican is a juvenile. She came in earlier today for fishing injuries. She was found down on Cabrillo Beach, not too far away. She has fishing lines stuck to her wing.
And wing damage is just the tip of the injury inventory the IBRRC has seen. X-rays at the facility reveal all manner of ingested human debris threatening the birds, from a variety of fish hooks to pellet gun pellets. And it's not just fishing gear that harms these birds. Too often they fall prey to the plastics and trash we all leave behind.
When an albatross or a gull or a pelican sees something floating on the ocean, and let's say it's a red plastic bottle cap, they think that's food because they can't discriminate between food and plastic.
Research Center board member Dave Wiesoff estimates that the facility has hosted more than 2,000 injured and ailing birds during this year alone. And Wiesoff says aquatic birds' need for care has never been more acute.
For 45 million years, some of these birds have been on the planet, and up till now, everything in the ocean has been safe to eat. And now that's not the case.
But how will the center's rehabilitated birds fare when they're released back into the wild? We'll tag along for that a bit later in the show.
You know, just one person, you, can truly make a difference and help heal the bay.
Stay tuned for simple solutions on how you can save our ocean and its beauty.
Hi, I'm Don Corsini, President and General Manager of KTLA 5. I'm also a lifelong surfer. I love it out here and on the beach and in the water. I have great respect for our ocean, but also great fear for its future. It may not look like it, but our aquatic backyard is in serious danger. On the surface, the water looks beautiful, but what's hiding underneath is far from it. Beneath the waves is a seafloor littered with toxic waste and plastics. Please don't make our ocean a dumping ground. Help heal the bay and volunteer at your favorite beach and make every day Coastal Cleanup Day.
Welcome back to Heal the Bay. I'm Micah Ullman.
And I'm Lou Parker.
For everyone who enjoys the ocean, there is nothing like a day at the beach. But if you really look around and dive deep, you'll see our sand and surf is suffering from a plastic plague.
Did you know Californians use 19 billion plastic bags every year? This one bag helps generate over 147,000 tons of unnecessary waste.
Call him the Plastic Whisperer. Captain Charles Moore of the Algalita Marine Research Foundation tracks the path of plastic waste throughout the Pacific Ocean. And just how big is the problem?
We are delivering some of the worst excrement from our industrial society to the entire marine food web using plastic as a vehicle.
On this day, Moore's research vessel, the Algalita, is docked in its Long Beach berth. But over the past decade, chasing the Pacific's plastic trash, Moore's expeditions have brought back some truly shocking and disturbing findings.
35% of the fish in our trawls had consumed plastic. The record holder had 84 pieces of plastic in its stomach, and that's a little fish about as big as your middle finger.
Marine researchers have discovered that ocean currents sweep plastic pollution and other trash into two primary circulating trash patches in the Pacific Ocean.
It tends to get stuck in this one toilet bowl that doesn't flush, this eastern garbage patch, and then there's another one little studied off of Japan called the western garbage patch.
And in the first decade of this century, Moore and his team have seen the Pacific's eastern garbage patch, midway between San Francisco and Hawaii, get ominously thicker.
The weight of plastic has gone way up, and the ratio of plastic to plankton has gone way up in that decade.
Moore showed our cameras some of the shameful booty collected on his Pacific voyages. Sand from Hawaii's shores, peppered with pieces of plastic.
Turns into this new kind of sand, a plastic sand.
Pounds of plastic popsicle sticks, plastic umbrella handles.
And these handles wash up by the thousands in Hawaii.
Even toothbrushes retrieved from Pacific beaches that were originally sold in Asia. White jade is from China. Between Lion is from Japan. And many items in Captain Moore's plastic hall of shame bear the bite marks of some hungry ocean dwellers.
These flexible plastics have a kind of a give to them that has the same sort of texture and feel as flesh, and are fooling a lot of organisms into consuming them. This is the most common thing that we find is the bottle cap.
But perhaps most disturbing of all, in the short time we spent with Captain Moore in port, a veritable trash heap of plastic waste floated by the captain's docked ship.
We just happened to see this baggie floating.
A plastic bag containing one lone grape.
Grape is biodegradable, but the bag is not. This bag could last for centuries in the ocean.
Shreds of a balloon.
And I've found solid line of balloons from Los Angeles to Mexico after graduation. Graduation balloon releases need to become a thing of the past.
Even kids' plastic play toys and the occasional unpleasant surprise.
Oh, lovely. We just picked this up full of salsa.
So what's the solution to our seas under siege? Captain Moore says for all of us, the answer is an easy one. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
That whole concept of reducing this amount of throwaway stuff has got to be foremost in your mind if you want to be a solution to this problem. Less. Less is truly more when it comes to protecting the marine environment.
But ever wonder where your plastic goes when you recycle? How about from holding your liquid to holding your lunch?
When you're in a restaurant, you get a bottle of water, throw it in the blue bin, and you could be having a salad out of that same product.
Our cameras were the first ever allowed inside the Bottle Box factory in Paris, California, where one solution to the ocean's plastic plague is in full effect.
The Bottle Box is sustainable packaging, and what we're doing is we're taking the bottles, making them into food packaging, and once the consumer gets done with the package and throws it back into the recycling bin, we can then recycle it again.
So how does a bottle become a box? Well, the first steps of the transformation take place here at the Global PET Plastics plant.
We receive like 100,000 pounds of plastic bottles a day.
In this parking lot lined with towering bales of plastic, the breakdown of a recycled bottle begins.
These bales are made with soda bottles, milk gallons, and water bottles, and nothing is wasted. We recycle the caps, the labels, and the bottles.
Inside the plant, clear versus colored is sorted by hand before being ground up into this. Bags of the crystal-like flakes are then washed and transported over to the Bottle Box factory, where they are melted into clear sheets and then punched by molds into the company's signature shape.
Every package is embossed with how many water bottles it took to make the package. So our largest package took 5 water bottles. Our smallest package took 2. So when the consumer gets our packaging, all they need to do is turn it over and they can see actually how many water bottles were recycled to make their container.
A creative cure to making sure the bay stays bottle-free.
Right now, California is only recycling 60% of the bottles that are sold. What the consumer can do to help us is to continue to recycle, to help keep the bottles off the beach, into the recycling bins, and into our facility so we can make them into packaging.
Used daily by millions, one of the ocean's biggest plastic pests, and now the star of a viral video created by Heal the Bay.
Never actually biodegrading, here the plastic bag can live indefinitely, peacefully coexisting with billions of other petroleum species.
To come up with this mockumentary, I think, was another way of dealing with a very, very serious issue.
An issue Heal the Bay President Mark Gold hopes the mockumentary will bring more awareness to.
Getting people to understand how ridiculous it is that we still have this love affair with single-use plastic bags in this day and age. It's plastic trash, single-use plastic packaging we use just for minutes at a time, but in the marine environment literally can last for hundreds and hundreds of years.
A practical solution to end the plastic plague: reusable bags.
A single reusable bag has the potential to replace over 1,000 of these throwaway plastic bags.
Plus, reusable bags can last for years. Help Heal the Bay and use one at the grocery store, the mall, even at home.
Coming up next, we all have favorite beach memories. Now, restore the ocean to its former glory so our kids can make memories of their very own.
Hi, this is Chad Lowe and this is Kim. Please help us protect California's coastlines. You can do so by calling 1-800-HEAL-BAY, or you can visit us online at www.healthebay.org. Thank you.
Did you know that plastic trash really never biodegrades and that this one bottle can last hundreds of years? To help Heal the Bay, 3 words: reduce, reuse, and please recycle.
Can you imagine? There's an estimated 3.5 million tons of trash floating off our coast. This glistening and gorgeous ocean has become a global garbage dump. But Santa Monica's nonprofit environmental organization Heal the Bay is dedicated to cleaning up California's coastal waters and saving its future for the sake of generations to come.
Heal the Bay's Santa Monica Pier Aquarium, open to the public, is a family and kid-friendly, hands-on center devoted to vital teaching about our local waters.
Our real purpose here at the Santa Monica Pier Aquarium is to educate people about the local life here and how they can impact it for the good or for the bad, and give people those opportunities and options to know how they can be part of the solution instead of part of the problem.
Aquarium Education Manager Tara Triber says by viewing and interacting with species that are native to Santa Monica Bay, visitors of all ages can understand our personal partnership with the sea surrounding us.
When you are putting your trash on the ground, when you are spilling chemicals on the ground, when you're pouring your oil down the storm drain, these are the animals that are going to feel those effects. These are the organisms that are going to eat our plastic wrappers when they end up in the ocean. These are the organisms that are going to be poisoned by the paint that you don't know where to put, so you put it down the storm drain.
Through touch tanks and indigenous fish exhibits and demonstration displays that show, for example, how much plastic bags look like jellyfish and can be mistaken as food by other animals, kids learn firsthand how to be good stewards of our seas.
Bring reusable bags to the store. Don't use plastic bags.
Recycle your motor oil, don't pour it down the storm drain.
Use a broom to clean your sidewalk, not a hose. Turn off the faucets when you don't need it.
Visitors as young as 3 come in and really make those strong connections between their actions and the health of the ocean.
And not too far from the aquarium, we're headed inland where some special students are preparing for a very big day.
Coastal Cleanup Day gives people an opportunity to clean up their environment so it could be a safer place for animals and the ocean.
Here in the heart of South Los Angeles, the Wisdom Academy for Young Scientists is raising the quality of both education and their inner city surroundings.
Historically, this environment that encases our school is a dumping ground for trash, for litter. And as young scientists, we go out into the community and we help to pick up this debris, pick up this litter, and make sure that it doesn't reach our coast.
If I see somebody at my school throwing trash, I say, can you please clean up? And then if they probably say no, I still pick it up for them.
The earth has 3 layers, the crust, mantle, and core.
A premier charter school in the Watts area for kindergarten through 5th grade. Principal Aleka Watson knows that by including Coastal Cleanup Day as part of their yearly curriculum, children are molded into change agents.
It encourages our students to know their responsibility as stewards of the environment. Some of them have never been to the beach. Even though it's just a straight shot down the avenue, they haven't been there.
Coastal Cleanup Day.
And for these young scientists, it's a role they are certainly ready to take.
By cleaning up this area or other areas, you can make the world better.
And we would like to invite our local citizens to come and help clean up our community.
While most teenagers spent their summer vacation at the beach, at the mall, or at the movies, one group of high schoolers used their break to become ambassadors of the earth.
We're concerned because there's people out there just throwing whatever into the storm drains, which eventually end up here.
Here at Compton Creek, located directly under the 710 freeway, eager young participants from PAVA, the Pacific American Volunteer Association, are learning to become catalysts of change in their communities.
We hear about pollution, we hear not to litter, things like that, and it's hard to follow up on all those rules, but when you come and directly see everything, you get a different experience.
Kind of push it in.
Led by high school senior Angela O and partnered with Heal the Bay, students arrive with tools in hand, ready to test the quality of the water that travels through this local channel, tainted with debris like plastic and string, to understand the devastating effects of pollution on our ecosystem. So take a lesson from the young faces vowing to make a difference sooner than later.
I've stopped using plastic bags. You just hold reusable bags that you have in the trunk of your car.
And when it comes to the future of our oceans, even Hollywood has the children in mind.
I moved here in 1977 from Ohio. The tide pools are nothing like they were when I grew up. You cannot find octopus, you cannot find barnacles, you cannot find all the sea life that is so vital to keeping a healthy ocean. So I'd like to think for our daughter Mabel that she's going to get to surf and swim in an ocean even cleaner than we get to surf and swim in.
The name Louis Vuitton, the first name in elegant leather goods, brought out the A-list recently for a Heal the Bay benefit fundraiser celebration. And foremost on all the stars' minds was the health of the oceans around us.
During the day, it's such a special place. I was filming the other day and all of a sudden I looked out and there was a track of 7 dolphins. That's why you're here. That's why it's called Heal the Bay, because those beautiful creatures won't exist in 10 years if we're not careful.
Our waterways and our oceans really do indicate the health of the planet. And Heal the Bay has a great program in place that you can participate at any level. So I'm very glad to support them.
No matter where you live, if you're polluting, if you're putting motor oil, or you're washing your car, you're putting your pet droppings in the gutter, that's going to end up eventually in the water, and then it ends up in your water. It's great that they help spread a lot of education, and then they're on the ground doing a lot of footwork as well.
And far beyond raising money and raising awareness, the Hollywood A-listers came together with a call to action for all of us at Heal the Bay's Coastal Cleanup Day.
It's a simple thing. It's all of the little things connected together to then sort of arrive at this bigger change.
Come and help on Coastal Cleanup Day, September the 25th.
Our oceans are in crisis, and it's our children who may be the answer. When you bring your family to enjoy a day at the beach, make sure you don't leave anything behind, including your child's beach toys. Teach them early so they can enjoy this beauty with their own family for years to come. Coming up next, all drains lead to the ocean. What are you putting in yours?
Not only does our Southern California ocean offer us unrelenting beauty, it also provides us with oxygen to breathe. So even if you don't live on the coast, each and every one of us has a responsibility to take care of this amazing aquatic landscape. Now remember, more than just water goes down your drain. Everything from trash to pet waste, fertilizers, and other pollutants are washed, flushed, and dumped directly into our ocean. On our unannounced visit to the Oxnard Industrial Drain in Ventura, we were shocked to find all manner of trash and waste slogging through the canal. Plastics of all shapes and sizes, pollutants, kids' toys, and sadly, a dead bird. Ventura Coastkeeper Program attorney Jason Weiner says it's important to remember where all this waste is headed.
Storm drains are conduits for pollution, so when you see a storm channel like the one behind me, you have to realize that this storm channel leads to another storm channel, to a bigger storm channel, and that eventually either will dump into a river or stream or into the ocean.
Weiner and his group used a data card to catalog and record the volume of waste they see in the drains, and the results are not pretty.
You'll get 500 pieces of trash per minute. That's 8 to 9 pieces per second flowing out. Roughly 75 to 80% of those, which is plastic. We've seen beds, we've seen TVs. You'll have motor oil, you'll have pesticides, nutrients, all that stuff from fertilizers. All that stuff is taken by the rain and enters into our streams and enters into our oceans.
So, what can all of us do to help? Weiner says the solution's a simple one.
First thing is to take ownership over your watersheds. Mobilize communities, get your neighbors out, stop trash first from getting into the water bodies, but then go out and clean up the trash. And in doing so, you develop a sense of ownership. This is my watershed, this is my river.
As she tends to her vegetable plants, Pamela Bursler of G3, the Green Gardens Group, is also protecting our ocean. That's because Pamela's making the most of the water she uses in her ocean-friendly garden.
An ocean-friendly garden uses the principles of conservation, permeability, and retention. Essentially, it's CPR for your landscape.
The conservation in Green Garden CPR means collecting available water rather than letting it escape as runoff. The permeability and retention mean putting that water to good use, designing landscapes like these stone catch ribbons that send water into the soil below instead of washing down the driveway.
Water travels very quickly and it flows through the storm drain channel and ends up at the beach. So we really are all connected through the watershed that we live in.
The Green Gardens Group works in conjunction with the Surfrider Foundation to offer public classes and hands-on workshops in creating ocean-friendly gardens. And while the work begins one garden at a time, the goal is to transform entire communities into ecological, water-efficient havens.
Landscapes that are beautiful and that are restoring the environment instead of degrading it.
Far from our California coast on Elmer Avenue in the North San Fernando Valley, there's a success story out on the street.
This neighborhood had experienced tremendous flooding and problems with just typical runoff. The street was in poor condition because of that.
Water experts Edward Belden and Nancy Steele worked with residents here to solve their runoff problem and to make their street a true model of water efficiency.
Every drop of water that hits the ground has to go somewhere. It either has to go into your yard or it hits the streets, picking up pollution and runs to the ocean.
Here's what Elmer Avenue looked like before the residents' neighborhood-wide water conservation project, and here's what it looks like now.
This street is comprised of 24 homes, and in front of each home there's a swale that's capable of capturing and treating the runoff as it comes off of the street.
The rock-bed water basin swales are just one weapon in the Elmer Avenue residents' all-fronts assault on water runoff. Also in place, rain barrel collectors at every home, permeable pavers that catch water and inhibit runoff, drought-resistant landscaping requiring less water, and installed beneath the street and out of view an infiltration gallery to hold water in place for longer and send it into the soil below. The success of the Elmer Avenue experiment has shown residents, as it shows us all, that what they do to prevent water runoff can help heal the bay from miles away. Everything on your city streets has the potential to end up in the ocean, so spread the word about urban runoff. By talking to your friends and your neighbors about this plight, you can really make a difference in our environment and help keep our oceans clean. Coming up next, commit to change. It's pretty easy. Do it with us and heal the bay today.
Water is everywhere. It not only makes up most of the Earth's surface, but also makes up most of the human body.
In fact, we could not survive without water, and the Earth couldn't either. Simply put, without the ocean, there would be no life.
Helping to ensure our world for generations to come, here in Southern California, we have some pretty special local heroes committed to healing the bay.
Let us introduce you to them. It's a place where dreams come true, stars are made, and millions call home. But underneath the fancy lights of the city skyline and behind the enviable ocean views reside the few and the strong, doing more than just living here. Committed to healing the bay, they are the faces of those taking action to preserve our environment not just for the present, but for the future. Our KTLA Heal the Bay cameras are on board, headed out of San Pedro Harbor for another expedition with Captain Kurt Lieber and the crew of the Ocean Defenders Alliance. Their mission? Dredging up by hand pounds upon pounds of derelict fishing gear left behind by commercial fishermen.
We've been in operation for 10 years now, and we've removed about 5,000 pounds of net and a little over 100 lobster traps. All of this is abandoned gear. Yeah, we're going over here. Divers throughout Southern California let us know where these dive sites are that have pollution on them.
The men drop anchor into a kelp bed off Cabrillo Beach, a likely hotspot for cast-off nets, fishing lines, and lobster traps that threaten the marine life below.
If you find a trap, you can attach that to it and we'll go back and get it.
Ocean Defender divers don't know what they'll find when they hit the water, but marine biologist Holly Gray, who volunteers with Ocean Defender, says what they might find on the ocean floor on any given day is sobering.
We're putting more synthetic products that have never been in the ocean before. We're taking out more organisms than we've ever taken out before. And we rely on this ocean for our survival.
A couple of memorable Southern California events underscore the urgency of Ocean Defender's mission. First, the sinking of the fishing vessel Infidel off Catalina Island in 2006.
When that went down, it went down with a 9,000-pound net, and that is a very expensive net. So that net is still down there killing. And that's one of our major programs, is we're trying to remove that net off of there. We've got about 10% of it.
Then, just this past May, the story of the baby whale Lily, tangled in fishing gear off Dana Point. Despite a heroic human effort to free her, Lily succumbed to the injuries she sustained from that gear and died.
It just highlights the importance of what we're doing, because this is in our backyard.
Meanwhile, on our day's expedition, the divers surface with good news for now.
We didn't find any nets or lobster traps, which I guess is a good thing, but we know they're out there, so keep on looking.
The nonprofit group will continue to encourage funding donations through oceandefenders.org. And Captain Kurt Lieber and his dedicated crew will continue to make a difference. One net, one line, one trap at a time.
Every time I come up out of there, I feel the ocean breathe a sigh of relief. Thank you for taking this stuff out.
From deep below the water to high above Los Angeles.
The Getty Museum is such a huge landmark here in Los Angeles, so having the sustainable seafood practices in our menu actually help people get educated when it comes to the use of seafood.
Nestled among the hills overlooking the 405 freeway sits the world-famous Getty Center, a unique museum attracting thousands of curious visitors and art aficionados daily. But the exhibits are not the only thing this educational center is providing.
Sustainable seafood is seafood that is environmentally friendly, that has been harvested without harming the local habitats. Rainbow trout for table 13.
Inside the doors of the restaurant at the Getty Center, executive chef Mayette Cristobal is ensuring diners get more than just a breathtaking view with their meal.
It's crucial to use sustainable seafood. People think that there is no limit with the seafood in the ocean, but actually there is. Just garnish with a little bit of greens.
Partnering with Bon Appetit Food Management Company, the restaurant's menu boasts plenty of savory dishes created with environmental ethics in mind. And you don't have to dine out to do your part.
Shopping at your local area farmers market is the sustainable option for the home cook.
The fresh produce, the low prices, the free samples. It's no surprise farmers markets are becoming the go-to spot for groceries.
How much?
But as Green Chef Nathan Lyon explains, what many shoppers may not realize, the choices here aren't just better for your body, they're also better for the bay.
These are all local, small, family farms. And that's a great thing because they use less fertilizers, less pesticides, and ultimately that means less runoff into the oceans.
With the basic belief that great food starts fresh, this home cook knows choosing sustainable produce is just one way to bring together his love for food and the environment. Our cameras spent a day with Chef Nathan amidst the hustle and bustle of the Santa Monica Farmers Market.
Bring your own bags, so that way you won't have to use plastic bags. So there are millions of plastic bags that go into the ocean every year, and that's not good for anybody.
And then back into his home kitchen as he turned his sustainable fresh finds into a delicious dish.
What better to make with all this seasonal produce than a spicy watermelon gazpacho? And cilantro, fresh mint. Now the mint brings a certain sweetness to it.
For the full recipe and to find out the other ways Nathan is growing a greener world, head to chefnathanlyon.com.
Who knew sustainability could taste so good?
And from making meals to making waves.
It's just one of the most beautiful places along the Southern California coast.
Welcome to paradise.
It just happens to be a perfect beach for families.
We love Paradise Cove.
68 acres, complete with breathtaking bluffs, surf, and savory seaside dining. It is no wonder why those in search of complete R&R have flocked to Malibu's Paradise Cove for over 100 years.
Paradise Cove is so special is that it's just gorgeous.
But in the middle of this picturesque landscape lies a very ugly problem. A major storm drain carrying filthy debris empties right here onto the shore, threatening marine life and those enjoying the waters.
There's nothing that somebody 20 miles inland does that doesn't impact the ocean in one way or another eventually. There is nothing between the houses and parking lots and streets in that watershed and the ocean. So it was important to have something at the bottom that would collect literally 100% of those contaminants.
Plastic bags and bottles, even the soap you use to wash your cars, just a few of the contaminants flowing downstream that owner Steve Dahlberg wanted to stop from polluting his paradise.
The Santa Monica Baykeeper with the City of Malibu put in a permanent facility, which is the stormwater filtration system that is here right now.
Through extreme sifting and ultraviolet lights, the new filtration system ensures urban runoff and trash won't interfere with your day at the beach. Small steps so everyone can enjoy their piece of paradise.
Help keep our beaches clean!
We need to defend our oceans now more than ever. So please come out on Coastal Cleanup Day and help protect and preserve this precious resource that has been given to us to take care of.
And finally, don't miss the best beaches in town, our Heal the Bay Surf Scorecard. It's coming up.
Just like you can't count the grains of sand, you probably couldn't count all the plastics floating and bobbing out there. In some parts of our ocean, there are 6 times more plastic than plankton. Please, don't forget Coastal Cleanup Day, September 25th, and help pick up your favorite beach.
The sand, the ocean breeze, the sea air, there's nothing like it.
So true, and now our Heal the Bay Surf Scorecard, the best spots to hit the waves. Any sunny day in Southern California offers countless beach-going opportunities for surfers, families, and sun worshipers. But how to decide where to go? Water quality scientist Amanda Griesbach says that's where the Heal the Bay's Beach Report Card comes in.
The Heal the Bay Report Card is a list on a website that's made up of over 500 beaches that are monitored throughout the California coast. Water quality is broken down in an easy to understand A through F grading basis to tell the people the quality of the water.
Of course, the Heal the Bay A-list honor roll beaches mean clean, clear, safe water. But those on the beach bummer list with an F rating for poor water quality can spell real health problems for swimmers and surfers alike.
Stomach ache, nausea, multiple skin infections, eye infections, ear infections.
Beach ratings can change weekly, but Heal the Bay Communications Director Matthew King shared with us some of the perennial A-list honor roll beaches for surfers.
Oxnard, Silver Strand, that area, absolutely fantastic water quality both summer and winter. Zeros, which is right at the LA County line. Down in Newport is another very popular surf spot. So these waves are generally places where you're going to see a lot of surfers congregate, and they can feel comfortable that the water quality is almost uniformly good.
And for family-friendly beach outings, King could also pass along some favorite Heal the Bay destinations that passed with flying colors.
Dockweiler, Crystal Cove in Orange County is a very famous spot. Leo Carrillo Beach, Zuma Beach. Another great family beach is the area near the Santa Monica Pier, and this is really a special story for Heal the Bay because for many years it was on our beach bummer list. And we've worked with the city over the last couple of years to make some improvements. It went from really being a 0 to what we say a hero now. The great news for families is that there's plenty of spots all along the Southern California coastline that are absolutely fantastic in terms of water quality. So if you go to our beach report card and check the weekly grades, the vast majority of them are going to have A grades, and you'll feel great about bringing your family there.
Many of the aquatic birds who frequent those bummer beaches on Heal the Bay's scorecard might fall ill, then find themselves as inpatients at the International Bird Rescue Research Center in San Pedro.
These birds came in very weak, very hungry, and well under their normal weight.
Earlier, we showed you the work of Dave Wiesoff and his staff at the facility, caring for injured and undernourished pelicans, gulls, and other aquatic birds. But today is graduation day, and if all goes well, it's time for the release of 2 pelicans and 2 gulls who've been nursed back to health.
We owe it to these birds to rehabilitate them and release them back into the wild, as long as by doing so we know that they can thrive in the wild.
WESOF and rehab technician Kylie Kleiderbuck make one final weight check and physical exam of the birds. They place a permanent metal band on their legs for future tracking and identification. After weeks of care and nourishment, it's time for the gulls to go.
Ready?
Go straight up.
And go they do, soaring eagerly out above the coast. Next up, the pelicans, now double their weight when rescued and cleared for takeoff. The first makes friends with the island-hopping cormorants off the coast. The second tests his wings on one extra loop over the island, then settles in among friends. For Dave and Kylie, this day's release is a smashing success.
It feels great, and for me, it's always wonderful to get out near the ocean, be with these magnificent creatures, to get these guys back out there where they belong. It just makes us feel richly rewarded.
Down the coast at Crescent Bay in Laguna, it's another graduation, this one for 4 sea lions who've been rehabilitated at the Pacific Marine Mammal Center. Earlier, we showed you how the staff at the center gave plenty of TLC to the ailing seals, sea lions, and other marine mammals. And the facility offers to the public an opportunity to play partner in these animals' rehab.
We have an animal sponsorship program where for a nominal fee you can adopt an animal that will become your own, and you get bi-weekly updates about the patient, you get exclusive visitation rights.
That's why there's a crowd on hand at the beach today to give a special send-off to their sea lions.
1, 2, 3!
It's a race to the surf for all 4 healthy animals, and for young Sydney Corrigan, who watched her sponsored sea lion work his way back into the waves. It's a lesson that will last a lifetime.
I feel really happy that I got to live in the wild now.
And that's the takeaway for all of us, that we are simply sharing the planet with all of these vibrant, vital creatures, and that we owe it to them to be good caretakers of our coastline.
We really do live in the greatest city on the water's edge. Thank you for helping us heal the bay.
And remember, we need to be stewards of our seas.
Not polluters of our ocean.
So get excited, get involved, make a difference.
And we'll see you on the beach.